While I got you here, I might as well ask you some questions.
Sure.
Um, so you're familiar with Joe's strategy, correct? The one right at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
So I guess the only confusion I have is if it goes in the direction of the manipulation bar, which down usually I thought, in the training that is positive
Oh,
manip or
here's
negative
Joe.
manipulation.
Joe's coming. Joe's in here. But
Okay, okay.
I think I know what your
Hi,
question is.
Joe.
Hi, Joe. Uh, Um, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Second, can you check on Political Nightmare?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can
Anyways,
you can you hear me?
yeah, we could hear you, Joe.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. I'll go on mute.
Well, you don't have to go on mute, but yeah, so Woods, I think I know what your question is, which is why are the bars pointed that way, right?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
correct.
So, I I'm I just kind of when we were developing it, we were just kind of figuring it out as we go along. And we noticed that well, I can't get too much into the mathematics and the
Right.
theory behind it, but we just noticed that it went in the opposite direction of the bar, or I don't know how to say it. I mean, because we could flip it. Okay, so long story short, after Joe's discovery, I am actually inclined to flip the direction of the bars. But I think that would be a more, sorry, I'm like admitting people constantly. Um, but yeah, I think that would be a more accurate way to represent it visually. Although if we did do that, then we would have to change a lot of training materials.
Well,
And
don't do it now. I've learned the strategy with the bars the way they are.
yeah. But now that I think now after Joe's discovery, I kind of am of the opinion that the manipulation is in the direction in the opposite direction of the bar, and that the real move is in the direction of the bar. So
Okay, that's what I was asking. You got it. Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Wait, sorry. I've never seen the manipulation bar pre-market upside down though. Or did I read that wrong?
Oh well, I guess you haven't looked at enough charts then, because there's a ton of
Really?
times when it's pointing, yeah, like half the time points up, half the time points down.
And I can jump in real quick if you want, Tay, on how I'm interpreting it pre-market. I think what we talked about was market makers have clear visibility into market on open and market on close orders. That's their job, right? Is identifying buyers and sellers and the highest levels of liquidity where the money actually is, right? They provide liquidity into the market. And because of that, the way that I read that manipulation bar is that is the direction that they actually ultimately want to take the price. But they first need to find either willing or unwilling buyers and sellers. And willing meaning somebody wants to sell their position at a top right at the open, or unwilling, some breakout trader put their stop there and they get snagged, right? So they're an unwilling buyer, and then they basically get trapped inside the trade. So that was very obvious to me that
Joe,
that's how they were.
can you show the chart while you're talking? This is for you. I'm sorry, I'm new to the group.
Yeah, I can share my
Yeah.
screen if you
Yeah,
want. Yeah, give me a second.
that'll be very helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Give me 1 second. We can go through a few names. Now, Sarah and I are going to be doing a couple of recordings on this,
Yeah.
where it's like drop dead obvious. But let me go ahead and do screen two. I'll do share. Let me know if you can see it.
Joe, you
Yeah,
can
we can
Yeah,
see
focus.
it.
we
Joe's
can see it.
explanation was better than mine. We do have Greg here with a question. Hi, is the direction different for ETFs like SPY than stocks? Different meaning, question mark?
I don't trade that strategy with ETFs. I put that in the rules because ETFs can be leveraged for hedges. So I just, and they're a basket of stocks, right? It's by nature, it's a diversified vehicle, a diversified asset. So your move is going to be limited. All of your money is in the individual names. The names are what move the index. So you want to be in the names that are actually pulling the index down or up. That's why I avoid the indexes altogether. So I haven't done any work on the indexes looking at this. There's probably a correlation, but if the Qs or the SPY moves 1% in a day and Starbucks does 4%, guess where I'm going to be? I'm going to be in the thing that's going to give me 4%, not in the thing that gives me 1%. So I only focused on this on individual names. Now, I'm not a fan of Starbucks. For me, it's not a big enough mover, but this is a great example of pre-market manipulation. This is actually a perfect example. And then I'll show you the monster trade that I took yesterday. You have a very tight range in the pre-market right here. You can almost draw a rectangle across, and it's very, very tight. So if you draw a line across the high here, going right into the open, if you notice, this was the pre-market high. They spiked it a few pennies above, trapping breakout traders right here. You get the pre-market manipulation spike down, letting you know that their intention is to move price lower during the day. Then they spike the high right at the open, trapping traders, and they knock it down. And you've got bearish NOF right there.
Guys, I think someone might need to mute. Might be Mike.
I'm
Mike?
just not really wanting to eat right now.
Mike, you might want to.
I want to eat. I'm hungry.
You're not eating anything?
I don't have an appetite much now.
Hey, I think you can mute him.
Okay,
Can I-
hold on.
Can I put an order in?
Okay, I muted him. Mike has been muted.
I was having fun with that one. This is actually textbook, right? In the rules that we pinned, this is the ideal setup because they're trapping traders here. You have a number of people who have been conditioned reading all the junk retail trading books that are out there. They are firm believers that you buy on a break above and you put your stop right underneath. And these are pre-market breakout traders. They do this all the time. They're the ones getting suckered right here. The best moves are when someone gets royally screwed. And for me, getting royally screwed means you get stuck right there in that position where you were trying to take it long and they're moving you short. This is beautiful. Now let's do one that's inverse. Let's do MSTR. I took this yesterday. So we'll go back to yesterday. And this is an outstanding example because this one actually has, this one moves with, it's got a lot of range. It's a much more expensive name, but I love crypto. So this is a big one for me. And I want you to see this, right? Here's the pre-market. So I can draw a box right across the bottom here. Right here is the pre-market low. I hope everybody can see that, this candle.
Yeah.
That's the low. You got the spike pointing up in the pre-market and is obviously very, very, very high. Okay, now we'll need to quantify this in terms of size, relative size. That's a conversation I'll have with Tay. But I think that there's additional logic in the size of the spike bar. But you can see here that not only do they spike it under the pre-market low right here, but look at that pin bar. This is a 5-minute pin bar candle, letting you know that they're buying it right there. Okay. And this bar was your entry bar. That is about that's pretty much like someone yelling at you with a megaphone saying, get in. This bar right here. This one is giving you a warning that it's basically a pin bar. I don't know if that's called like a hammer. I don't know the details of the candles, but you can tell that as it went low.
And Joe, maybe take 1 second to point out the shadow bars too.
I actually know nothing about the shadow bars. So this is the part where I sound really dumb because I look for 3 things on this strategy and I ignore everything else. So maybe you can help me. You can help me on this one with the shadow bars.
The shadow bars pointing down, they're bullish. Shadow bars pointing up is
that means that Momo is selling.
Yeah, Momo.
I knew that. I was just testing you to make sure you knew you were on.
Yeah, the shadow bars mean that Momo is selling. So the shadow bars tend to be pretty good of a inverse indicator if there's a lot of them or if they're big.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out one more thing, given the fact that we're talking today. I want to talk about, so which one was it today? There were a couple of names. I want to give you NVIDIA. So
before we move on, I just also want to point out on that master MSTR chart.
Yep, let me go back
that
to
you
it.
were on.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you said that was a selling opportunity, net option flow was also going from from bearish to bullish there.
And this was yesterday. This was the buy. This was the long that I took right there, right here.
So if you guys see in the beginning of the day, net option flow is bearish with puts being bought and calls being sold. And then right on that bar where Joe said, this is
Right
your
here.
buying signal, we see, a big net call buying, which is bullish.
Right there.
Joe, do you want me to
this
read out questions to you and interrupt, or do you want to just go?
Yeah, whatever
Okay.
format you guys want.
SR says, Joe, what are all the confirmations to look for other than the false breakout at open? How do we know that it is not a real breakout? Thanks.
How do we know that it's not a real breakout? When your mental stop, if you're trading options, is underneath here and you're getting in right after this candle and it comes back down against you, close your position. That's how you know it failed. It's really simple. Cut your losses super fast. Chances are you'll get a second and third shot at it. But the majority of the time, the real confirmation from me is when you're starting to see a break above the middle Bollinger Band line right here. So if you look at these candles.
I think his question was actually about the previous chart, the Starbucks chart, where you were outlining.
Let's bring it up.
Yeah. And I kind of.
SBKS, I think, is the.
SBUX is Starbucks.
SBUX. Thank you. SB. You would think after all these years of trading, I have them all memorized, but I don't like Starbucks.
So you're talking, he says, what are all the confirmations to look for other than the false breakout at the open? So I guess he's asking how we know that green bar is not a real breakout. Is that a good
which this is the pre-market. So
senior. What's that?
This is the pre-market, so that's not the setup isn't in play yet until this vertical dash line. That's the market open. So anything after is when we're starting to pay attention.
So I guess on that vertical dash line, there was like a moment where that was a green bar because there's that top tail. So I guess when we see that, what else do we look for to confirm that it's a false breakout?
Well, I'm using my own. I'm looking at a separate tool, to be honest, because I'll be doing trade execution in that one. But this bar would not have been the bar. I would tell new traders not to enter on this bar. I would tell them to enter right after this bar, because you're not getting NOF confirmation until right here. Okay. And then your move, you can see that you missed a lot of the move right here. For me, when I see a failure of the pre-market high being taken and it starts to move in the opposite direction, for me, that's enough. But I've been trading for a long time, so I can read price action very, very quickly. The best setup is if you wait, okay, for confirmation. Now let's use Tesla as an example. Tesla would be textbook. Tesla yesterday was textbook. Here we go. Take a look at Tesla. Tight range in the pre-market. Tight-ish range. Right about here is when you're starting to get a lot of traders in. You have the bearish spike candle. Draw a line across the top of the pre-market high. They spike it at the open. This is a scary bar right here, this middle bar. This is almost telling you that they're going to break it higher. But what are we waiting for? We're waiting for confirmation. Okay? So this is technically, this is confirmation. It's just not large when you're at the open, but this is telling you that it's bearish, right? It's almost conflicting, but it isn't until you get this candle right here that it's the true confirmation. Now there's a large engulfing candle, but you can still take it from this move all the way down. And there's a lot of money in this part of the trade. I have enough confidence seeing the spike in the pre-market, watching the high get taken out, and then having it oscillate as it's then closing or breaking underneath the middle Bollinger Band line. That's when I take it. And then my mental stop, if I'm trading options, is right across the tops here. Now, I trade stocks, so I actually have stops sitting above. I prefer to trade stocks. I'm not going to sit here and read all the price action on the chart and traverse the option chain and find the best option that I can find and try to get the right fill. It's just happening way too fast. So I trade stocks, but you can do this with options as well. You just have to get really good. at selecting your option and catching it on the move.
We have a couple more questions. Ronnie Elias says, if you look at Tesla from July 8th all the way till July 10th, continuous bullish flow and stock going up, how could someone have caught this? It was even on a bullish trend before the 8th and then crashed on the 11th due to the WSJ article. Thank you.
Yeah, Tay, you called out being bullish on Tesla in official Tay-Rex. I think what was that? That was like early July, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one, Tay? This is not the strategy that I trade. So I would have been looking in the higher time frame and then identifying an opportunity, and then I'd use BigShort to give me conviction.
Let me reread the question because I was just parroting it.
Also, Joe, how would you do your strategy in this?
Well, I wouldn't. My strategy is not. My pre-market strategy is not aligned with this name on this date. So if you look, right, the way that, and I don't want to confuse you by showing you one that doesn't even match, but I'll give you a quick example so hopefully you understand the rules. This is pointing down, which tells me they need to trap traders at the open high and then bring it lower. But this was riding the bottom of the Bollinger Band, not the top to trap people. So this is a no-go for me in terms of my strategy. This is not a bear setup. It's just nothing. This is just look at it, try to find an opportunity to go long if it gives you a signal, and then take it long.
Okay, I think even NOF is also
I don't see NOF here giving you much confirmation. So this one would have been tricky, to be totally honest.
I got it.
And if you don't get confirmation, you're kind of gambling, right? The whole point of this tool is it's a high conviction tool, and you're trying to stack the probabilities in your favor, right? Using basically math and a proven strategy here. So if you're not getting the confirmation in NOF, then this is just gambling. Don't trade it. The chances, if you do that 1,000 times, right, by just gambling, just imagine what your profit and loss will look like. The whole point is to make sure that you're taking high probability trades every time. This one for me was not. I mean, it's a bullish name, right? This is a heavily traded retail name. Retail loves Tesla.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 5-minute chart right now. I think 7-1 on the 5-minute, that looks like decidedly bullish to me.
Oh yeah, look at that right there. I mean, right at the open.
Yeah, starting from the open onward, it's just bullish NOF
all day. Look at that. Yeah, this is like almost like that little diamond formation. I see diamonds when I look at this, and they're stacked perfectly, right? You've got people buying calls and selling puts. Absolutely beautiful. Then another one here. Perfect. I don't trade it this way, but I mean, this is about the easiest way to read the chart with this tool. This is kind of in your face bullish, right?
Okay, well,
what I wanted to show, and I'm going to bring up a separate charting tool just really, really quickly, okay? What I wanted to show everybody was on NVIDIA. This is something that I highlighted today. So NVIDIA, what I wanted to point out, and give me 1 second here, is this. On this day, right here, the very next day we gapped down on 717. Okay, can everybody agree? We gap down the next day.
Mm-hmm.
What I look for is I look for price to come back to the gap level. And then how will it react when it gets there? Well, yesterday, it went right up to 124.66. So now let's bring up the tool. NVIDIA. Just jump to today and then move back 1 day. It's just, I'm lazy, so it's faster that way. What do you see? I mean, here's my strategy right here. Look at that. Letting you know it goes right up to the gap level. Matter of fact, if I click on the candle, look at the high, 124.69. What was the level I highlighted? 124.66. We're talking 3 pennies. And then what did it do? It's letting you know that they're going to sell the gap fill right when it fills the gap and then completely fall over. CrowdStrike did the same thing the other day. This is super high probability, guys and gals. You identify something in the higher time frame, watch it fail on the 5-minute with this tool. Dead giveaway right there. Look at that. That's a shooting star. Completely collapses. I mean, let's just talk about the money here. 124, 124.24. If you're kind of late and you take it all the way down to 122, and then you saw what it did today, CrowdStrike did the same exact thing. Let's look at CrowdStrike.
Sorry, Joe, can you, on that last one in NVIDIA, the gap, what day did that happen? I know you're on the day chart, right, for that. I'm trying to match it up on my chart.
On NVIDIA, yep, NVIDIA. I have a Gappers watch list that I iterate through every day. This is how I find them almost immediately. And then I just set alerts. Yeah, so the gap happened on the 17th, and then it took 1, 2, 3, 4 days to come back up and fill the gap before it fell over.
Okay, thank you.
And for those that are deep chartists like me, in head, shoulders, left, head, right. And this is the neckline right here. And we just broke the neckline. So the chances of going much lower are very high. But I just wanted to point out, right? When you identify gaps in big names, set an alert for when it gets near that price. And then when it starts to get in there, bring up BigShort and then watch what happens right as it skirts along the top of that line. It'll fall over. I think we looked at CrowdStrike as one of them, right? On that day, I shared that chart as well. And that was another example. Multiple examples like that.
Okay,
Thanks so much for sharing.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah,
we have another
sharing.
We have another question. No, let's keep Joe on here. I like Joe.
Okay. All right.
So we have another question from Fazil's laptop. He says, SPY today net flow was trending up and SPY was falling all day. Can we look at SPY today, please?
Let's go to today. Well, can I say one? Okay. Please repeat the question one more time. I want to make sure that I understand it in detail.
SPY today net flow was trending up and SPY was falling all day. Can we look at SPY today, please?
I don't see it trending up. I see it trending down.
No, he's saying that the net flow was trending up. I think he's talking about the NOF, the NOFA line.
This little green line right here?
In the middle of the day, it starts going up way over there by that golden sweep to the right.
I mean, it hits the zero line right about here. It's low it's underneath most of the day.
I could take this question.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a lot of options being traded today, and we don't know the time frame of when these people are planning to exit. Like if you open the option detail pane, then you can kind of see the expirations of the options of all these golden sweeps and whatnot, and then you can kind of surmise like a little better. Yeah, for example, like here, like this golden call, it's for $3 million and it expires August. We have the other goldens, they're like August.
These two look like they're the same, two blocks. And then these two look like blocks in a combined block.
So that's millions of dollars, basically selling a lot of puts that expire really far out. And so this is not really an immediate directional play. Like if they were like really near-term options or something, then that might indicate more sentiment. But this is the theta gang right here. They're here to collect their theta, and they want they're trying to generate kind of like they're trying to beat bonds basically by
they're probably doing like credit spreads, right? They're selling credit spreads or collecting credit.
Yeah. The strike here is 523, 522. So we're talking like they're selling like way lower. It's probably some kind of advanced strategy where their clients, if it actually does get that low, then they're going to be able to put on the performance report that they totally destroyed the SPY performance or something, because all they care about is just window dressing that shit. But But
So
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that they're going right there because you can see the liquidity is sitting right underneath this pivot. And from the high where we were to 522, that's a 7% correction, right? Most corrections, market corrections, are anywhere from 7 to 10%. So that would get us right about here. They're probably looking to take profit right at this level, right before this pivot. And obviously we want to see what happens when they reach that first gap. So no surprise that they're targeting down here. And also, if you just draw a line across the top here, where that used to be support, right about there, what's that number? That's around 525. So we're in that ballpark of this actual zone. They're probably just looking at the long term, right?
yeah, they're looking to sell puts, and they know that the Vega and the Theta is high, so they're just trying to get the most premium that they can, and they're betting that this pullback is not gonna last for the rest of the year, which personally I don't think it will either, but don't hold me to that. But but yeah, and another thing that you should really look out for is these dark pools.
Hmm.
If you noticed after the first leg of the downtrend, all the dark pools in the middle, yeah, in the middle right there, like that's a lot of dark pools. Like there's days in SPY where there's not a single dark pool, but that is a lot of dark pools above, which should immediately put you on guard to be cautious about going long.
And I
And
think we gapped down at the open. Yeah, see, we gapped down. Look at that. That's a big gap down. So your bias, right when you see gap downs, the last one was right here with a large dark pool print right above it on the daily time frame. You can see that the bias is very bearish. We're now underneath the daily Bollinger Band, right? So this gap down should let you know right off the bat that the bias is very bearish for the day. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of negativity to gap an index down.
Yeah, and I would say, yeah, the dark pool prints above, the bearish net option flow at the open, and then the fact that it's a downtrend day, that made me think, okay, today's a downtrend day, and once the trend of the day has been established, I don't trade against that trend.
And look at
yeah,
this. Isn't that a bronze? That's a bronze.
Mhm. Yeah, two bronze sweeps, and then we had
Look at
bearish net
that.
option flow with puts being bought.
Oof. Yep.
yeah, and the significant put selling in the middle, that's inclusive of all those puts that were sold really far out of the money, really really long expiries. So those are not going to have like an immediate intraday effect, because the effect of those dollars is spread out through through many through many days. You have to divide it by the number of days from here until September, and they'll almost definitely close out their position before then.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I also noticed that when we had that sort of large put selling spike and that golden spike, we did see a short-term bounce. We went from the bottom of the Bollinger Band all the way to the top, but then,
oh, right,
the
yeah,
trend of the day is down.
yeah,
So
and
there's only so much steam.
it's quite an active day, so that looks small, but like if this were a normal day, that would be a pretty significant move that you could make a profit off of
Hmm.
on a normal SPY trading day.
Yeah,
And
and we had economic data that came out this morning. I don't know if others realize this, but we had PMI manufacturing data that came out right at the open, and it was very bad. So that kind of set the tone.
Mm, that makes sense.
and yeah, and lastly, like I'd like to say that like traditionally traders, they identify whether it's a trend day or a range day or a reversal day. But if you don't want to like go through the manual work of thinking about that, you could just keep SimSearch up, and it'll show you what's more likely to happen. And um, today after the initial downwave, it was like Joe and I talked about, or I mentioned it in the Discord, that
Yeah.
it's showing a lot of downward trending lines. So
All the
so
lines here are pointing down.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
There's
mean, it
like
didn't
nothing
look
pointing up.
it didn't look like that in the middle though. I mean, it still had most of the lines pointing down, and it had one like potential bounce possibility. But if only one of them is pointing like pointing to a slight bounce, and the rest are like pointing to a downtrend day, then that's another reason to be cautious. So yeah, you've got a lot of warnings here with the dark pools and the sim search, and on top of that, the NOF dollars are not going towards near term, like you know, aggressively directional options. They're more like income collecting options that triggered those golden sweeps and the put sellings.
And I
And I
just
don't,
shared in the chat Tay's screenshot from what sim search looked like in the beginning or in the middle of the day, and your call out that there was only like one bounce possibility out of 5.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen in sim search bearish NOF like this significant. Usually you have to look in the individual index. So the fact that it printed like this even at the open, I think has some significance, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's true.
That is interesting.
I've
Yeah,
never seen it of that size.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not in sim search.
People look at me like I'm supposed to know everything, but I just show you guys the data, and if the data looks weird, if it stands out like a sore thumb like that, then it's worth investigating, even if it's something that we haven't talked about, you know?
Yeah, and just to quickly go over for new users, when we're looking at Ultraflow, that shows the aggregate of all the individual constituents of a given ETF. So right now we're looking at the SPY Ultraflow. So that put buying spike that we see at the open, that means that all the individual constituents of the S&P 500, they showed a net put buying at the open, which is
There.
bearish.
Okay, I'm a little bit backlogged on these questions. LaDonna says, answered my question, disregard mines. What?
One
I, I,
down,
I
300 to go.
I think she was asking about golden sweeps. Is that I'm scrolling up right
There were a
now.
bunch of golden sweeps on the SPY right here, all
He says,
across here.
please share more on these golden sweeps. There were some today that did not result in upward moves. Well, I think I covered that in the previous answer, LaDonna.
Yeah, I think she said that before
Oh,
you
she's
gave your
saying,
answer.
oh, okay. All right. Answer my question, disregard. Oh, that's what she means by the disregard my previous
Yeah.
question. Okay, good. Okay. And then next question, it says Popeye says, how do you find the pre-market M and when is there a way to find them?
I go in here, then I look over here around, I'm in Central Time right now. So I go in here about 30 minutes before the open and I walk down this list and I look for the biggest ones. If I don't see my favorite names in here, I like to trade mega and large cap names. If I don't see them in here, then I come over to SmartFlow and I go through my top 20 names. I'm looking at Meta, I'm looking at AMD, I'm looking at NVIDIA, so on and so forth. And I just iterate through them. I look through all the crypto names, so just have a list. And I will mention this. I think it's important for our conversation since it's being recorded. You cannot be searching for this stuff at the market open. You are not going to succeed that way. You have to have your list, your watch list of names, ideally just 2, because you have a lot of work to do when you're trading this at the open. A lot of things are happening at once. Have your favorites that you're going to target. You're not going to get them all. That's not the problem you need to solve. But do all your work 30 minutes prior to the open, have your 2 favorite names, and be ready to trade them when they open. Make sure you're walking through the option chain 15 to 20 minutes before the open so you know what your choices are. The options detail in the chain is not the most accurate prior to the open, but at least you'll know how far out you need to go to get the right IV that you're looking for, the IV target, and the specific option that you want.
Joe, I'm going to take a question on sim search. So could you go back to Ultra?
Yeah, I'll go back to sim search. Yep, you got it.
Okay, so Luis C. Bryan says, how reliable is the sim search? Well, let's turn it on, Joe.
Let's turn it on. Boom.
Yeah. So the sim search it updates constantly. And if you, Joe, if you could scroll down a little bit.
You want me to scroll down here?
There. Yeah, so you see on the bottom there's 5 dates. And those are the 5 dates of the 5 lines of SPY or QQ or whatever the symbols selected. And those are the 5 dates for which that price action is being shown overlaid onto the current day's chart. And so, I mean, that's just how SimSearch works, is it just finds the days which are most similar to the current day at the current point in time. And the reason it's useful is that human behavior, like history, they say history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So, you know, humans might not like wake up at the exact same time every day, but they wake up pretty close. And so like these timing effects throughout the day happen happen in a way that days are comparable to each other in the shape of the waves. It's starting to sound. Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
mention that Paul Tudor Jones made his first $100 million in the black market crash of 1987 using this exact strategy, but it was analog. They literally took transparent paper and overlaid it on a chart. So the fact that Tay is doing this in a tool, and I have to believe that you're doing this via machine learning, because there's no way you're going to track 5 patterns like that manually every day. The fact that it's showing up like this is actually pretty damn cool. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a new tool, and I don't make any warranties about how accurate it is, but I think as a timing tool for catching intraday tops and bottoms and stuff, I think it's pretty good. Okay.
Well, I mean, especially when you see a spike, you see a NOF candle like this, which I almost never see in this tool. You can't be thinking bullish breakout.
Hey, any reason why the lines on SimSearch are constantly redrawn? Shouldn't all the past periods lines except the current days should remain static? The reason why the lines are constantly redrawn is because we match the intraday candlestick pattern up to the current 5-minute bar, and we match that with what's in the historical record. So there might be something where it's similar to X for the first 1 hour, but then after 2 hours, it's more similar to Y. And so that's why they're redrawn.
Nice.
Tay, how to read the price discovery line and manipulation tally lines. price discovery. JT Hunter says it's better than pretty good. Thanks, JT Hunter. Okay, Tay, how to read the price discovery manipulation tally. Yeah, I don't know. I really have no clue what the price discovery is. What I do know is that generally speaking, it happens around the same time every day. And haven't really figured out how to use it. Although some of our users have done they've worked on strategies where they use it kind of as the bookend for the opening range or something like that. I don't know. Manipulation tally lines. Well, the manipulation tally line is just a tally of all the manipulation bars throughout the day. And just shows you generally like it's just accumulation. It's just all the bars added up. And how you choose to use it is up to you, because people are discovering things all the time, just like Joe. Yeah, I don't know nothing. I recognize the golden and bronze sweep sound alerts. How do we recognize the other sounds as to what they are alerted for, like dark pool manipulation, etc.? I
So
think
if you click on the little speaker, yeah. So if you toggle those on and off, you'll be able to hear a preview of the sounds, so you'll know exactly what each sound means. And you can also adjust the sound alert for manipulation. So it's defaulted to 5, but I normally set it for 3 when I'm trading SPY.
And by the way, guys, like I am downplaying this discovery line thing, but it is really a bizarre thing. And I like it sucks that I can't talk too deeply about how it's derived, but um for it to happen like that at the same time every day, it's just it's demonstrative of it being such an integral part of the plumbing of the market. And yet on some weird ass days like Christmas Eve or something, it's not there, you know? So
Like
it's got to mean something. I just haven't had time to research it enough and figure it out. So hopefully we can crowdsource figuring out the value of that through you guys. But if you're a noob, that just read the guides and follow what works. CSR says, any plans for live trading sometime so new users can see the tool in live action? At least live trade a day here and there, please. Thank you. Well, I've done some live trading on FOMC days, and on FOMC days, I actually use manipulation a lot. But I don't know. I have health problems.
yeah. So Zeta said something about how to use the price discovery
Oh,
line.
Zeta says, for the discovery line on SPY today, you can take the range during that spike and see that later on in the day, it was the resistance point. Okay. So he's saying like draw a line from there to the end of the spike, and then that was the resistance, I guess.
So,
Hmm.
sorry, I can hop in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, so I think how we used it before is so that spike, it kind of shows you like where to grab the candles. So when it first starts, I think it's like 10:15 or something. So you take the high and low of the candles during that time, during that spike. So during the purple spike from like 10:15 to 10, usually it's like 10:15 to 10:40.
Okay.
And then you draw like a line on the top and a line on the bottom. So a line on the top in the chart, so like the highest candle, and then
Oh,
the
I
lowest
understand. I
candle,
understand. Got you.
and
So you
then you draw the cross, and then
draw a
later on
cross
you'll
here.
see that it actually was a resistance. So the low was like a resistance later on.
If you
So
click
I
on the
think
that one, you can draw a
Okay,
line like that.
perfect. I
Yeah,
don't use the drawing
you
tools in
just
here.
click and
So
drag.
draw,
Yeah, click and drag.
click.
yeah,
Let's do
so
it
that would be
again.
like the
Yeah,
high,
highlight.
and
Let's
then
watch me in real time make mistakes. I hope you're enjoying this.
Oh, it's perfect.
Okay, so there's the high, and then there is the end of the spike. That was the low. So here,
yeah, and
like
maybe it
right
wasn't
here.
today, but yeah, a lot of the times like we would use it as like to say like, okay, if it breaks below that point, you can kind
Oh,
of
I
tell if
think
it's
I
going to
think
be a
you've got
range or
something.
a trend day.
Look,
Yeah, that was the resistance.
and then it broke underneath, and I don't think it ever came back, right? So we'll project this into the future. Is there a way to make it flat if I like hit the shift key or something? Nope. Okay. I hope that's straight.
Yeah,
It
that looks
never,
good.
it tried to come back right here and right here, and it definitely failed. Even with the golden sweep, it moved back down. There might be some
Yeah,
magic
so
here.
so anyone that does try to use it, like I would just so once it happens, like you can do this on the BS chart or like the like in trading view. And then you can just kind of mark it out and see how it reacts to that. Um, if it's support or resistance, I guess.
I want to see something since you just mentioned that. I noticed the very large dark pull print yesterday in the queue. The queue was at the SPY. Sorry. Trying to do this in real time. Nope, it's not there now. So it was the Q yesterday. There was a point at which we had a dark pool print underneath. It came down, it bounced, and then it took off. And I thought that was really interesting.
Is it unusual for the price discovery to be that long?
On the Qs.
Or do you not look at the Qs?
Sorry, what was that?
Is it unusual for the price discoveries to be that long?
Yeah, usually it's only like 30 to 40 minutes. I've only looked at SPY though, so I don't know if
Okay.
QQQ like reacts differently.
Yeah,
This
for
was
the
today.
Qs, it looks like the price discovery window is much longer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Gosh.
but about the same length of time, but longer.
That is seriously some kind of smoking gun mystery of the market that I hope to one day solve. Yeah. SR asks, you may have explained this before. What are the various confluences that we should look for in BigShort in order to take a more foolproof trade? Thanks. Anyone want to take this one?
Political Nightmare or Reese? We have a few users in here like Political Nightmare, Reese, Zeta, and Joe, who are successful users. So this Q&A session is sort of tailored for them to take questions from our
I've
users.
talked a lot, so let's let Political Nightmare and others jump in. I was only highlighting my specific strategy, and I look for the pre-market stuff. I've communicated what the what the things are that I'm looking for to line up for high probability. And I also use gap lists, right? I'll wait days for it to come back to a gap, and then I jump right into the tool and I'm waiting for confirmation that it's going to turn over. I know that there's others in here. While Political Nightmares traded that same strategy with me, we've done it together now for, I think, over a week. And we've been printing cash.
Nice.
I'm not gonna lie about
awesome.
it. So we're kind of having fun. You want to jump in here, buddy?
Yeah, I can. My entire strategy revolves around the daily chart besides the pre-market manipulations. So I'm looking every day about the 30 minutes before close for and everyone knows the daily chart. Any unusual option candles on the daily chart is just an aggregate of everything from the 5-minute chart. So 30 minutes before close every single day, I have a massive watch list of tickers that I scroll through to see if there's anything populating on the daily chart. And right now, I'm a little excited. I actually had a good ER play today. I'm watching my puts print on waste management right now, so I'm a little bit excited.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm just got my eyes on it. Make sure it's.
Okay, let's not bother Paul right now. He's in.
Yeah. He's got things to do.
I was excited. No, but like Netflix is a really good example. Netflix was a great play the other day. I don't know if we can go to the daily chart on Netflix, but
Paul, I would suggest that you really pay attention to the M bars during the earnings reaction, and if they turn against you, you can always hedge with common to synthetically exit your position.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow,
that's very well said.
I'm actually stoked about this. I was almost not going to play this, but I'm very excited. Very cool.
Well, thank goodness it wasn't a junk trade.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
But where to start? I mean, I guess you know what?
You could tell that something about the price pattern smelled.
Nice.
I was waiting for a little help. Thank you.
That was good. So
is this an example of like a bear setup? This looks to me like it has significance.
Yes, that's exactly what I was looking at on that particular day, and followed up later by more call sales. But these are the types of things that I'm looking for on the daily chart every single day. And again, on a smaller time frame, 5-minute chart, you can see this was an actually interesting case, because if you go to the 5-minute chart, and I don't know if they did this on purpose or not, this ended up being what, a $60-$70 drop over the course of 4 or 5 days. And the way they did this is very interesting. So if you actually go to that day, they spread this out. So the tricky thing is you couldn't have caught this on the options side panel, because the way that they the way that they bought these puts was all day long. So I don't know if we can go to the 5-minute chart for Netflix
on this day.
On that day. Very interesting what they did. I don't think that's it.
I think, hold on a second. On that specific day, we were looking at, was it?
Yeah, right there.
July 8th? Okay,
yeah,
let's go to July 8th. And then let's go to 5-minute. There we go.
So very interesting what they did here. They bought puts throughout the entire day. So this stuck out to me, but I ended up seeing this on the daily at the I watched this happen in real time, but the aggregate, of course, is on the daily. So that made me think something was up with Netflix. And my recommendation in the chat, you could go back and see it. It wasn't a strict recommendation, but I just did say watch out for Netflix because it looked angry. And not more than 4 days later, I mean, unfortunately, I didn't play this. I wish I would have, but I didn't. I only saw it. But these are the types of things that I'm looking for on the daily chart, and I have a few more examples as well. Len is a really good example.
I just want to point one quick thing out, and let's go to today so we see the full picture. On this day where you identify the opportunity, you can set a low line below the low of that day and wait for it to break. Those are usually your biggest opportunities. So even though it didn't set up right away, it's letting you know that over the next few days, clearly there's significant bearish bias. Right. So it would have taken you a couple of days and you would have had a monster trade going in once it breaks the low.
You had ample time to get in there. Yep.
Yeah. Did you want me to go to another name?
Sure. Len is a really good example. Okay. So again, 30 minutes before close, every single day, I go through all of my tickers, and that big bad blue call buy right there, that was about a $44 million, if I remember correctly, $45 million call premium bought on that day. And yeah, this was set up for a future date. I think the expiration date on this was maybe, if I remember, let me see what it was. So something to remember on the daily chart is these are not typically immediate reactions, but they indicate future movements, right? So well in advance, somebody was betting almost $50 million that sure enough, Len was going to skyrocket within the next week. And as soon as the change in tech, right? This is when this popped, right, Joe? Like,
yeah, if you notice right here on, oh man, why isn't it hovering, giving me the date? So this was July 9th, July 10th, going into July 11th.
It's because you're selecting the dark pool.
Thank you. I had the drawing tool selected. On July 10th, from July 10th to the July 11th, it gapped up at the open. Anytime you see gaps, your bias has to shift almost immediately. And Political Nightmare identified it right here. And I just drew a straight line across to see when it would get up, break above. But if you notice the expiration date, 7/19 was like right there. And it went up there, right? 160. So it broke above 160 right here.
So then, can we see the 5-minute for that NOF bar day?
For that NOF spike?
Yeah.
So which day? This day or this day?
No, the one with the NOF spike.
Yeah, that's June 17th, I think.
June 17th. Let's go.
June 17th. I think that's July 17th.
Oh, it is July. Yeah. I was just testing you, obviously. I want to make sure you're paying attention.
Okay.
That was quite a big spike. It dwarfs all the other NOF.
Yeah, when you see a premium that high, pay attention because there's a reason for it.
Was there some kind of news that caused it to rally?
Not that I'm aware of at all.
Okay. Well, news doesn't matter.
I think it's interesting that somebody's willing to put $47 million on the line for a 1 month expiry, roughly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a close call.
You have to have a lot of conviction, but it went to target 2 days before.
Almost 20 something, $22 shot or something. But I mean, that was a nice move. And
it was out of the money too. So
and calls were cheap. Calls, the 4 was very low. Calls were really cheap at the time on that one.
Yeah, I bet the market makers had a hell of a time trying to fulfill that one. That's probably why it went down for a few days after.
Yeah, there was it's nerve-wracking holding for 2.5 weeks, right? But I mean, these things usually play out when you see premiums like that. They usually do exactly what it did, and I've seen this happen on coin plenty of times. I mean, Root, like Joe will like this one. Root is pretty predictive in its daily NOF.
Oh, you know how much I like this name. I've traded this so many times.
So look at the call buying action at the last spike up, right?
Right there. Yeah, and this name has a lot of range, so it moves a lot in one day, which I love.
Yeah. So you start buying on what July 11th, right? That was
right there.
How much of a move was that? It might not be that significant. $63
60 to 80?
81 to 80. Yeah,
oh, that's a monster move.
That's
Colossal.
a huge move, right?
Yep.
So these are again things that I look for on the daily chart is build accumulation of these unusual option activities, and I think they're very
interesting that the net option flow accumulation, if you look at it, it breaks the zero line right there.
And the M bars are actually predictive on this too, because you'll see over to the left you have a bearish M bar and it goes down, and then again you have a bullish M bar towards the right, and followed by all those calls. So I would suggest studying, back testing the daily chart for things like this, right? And there's a lot of other ones. DHI was a really good one the other day for me. I got lucky on a gap up with DHI. To your left, that blue call right there. Yeah. I bought at the end of the day on DHI right there based on that. So like 20 minutes before close, I just went through all my tickers on the 5-minute chart and I caught that bad boy. And sure enough, the next day it gapped up. I had calls. I made some good money on that one.
I'd like to point out that that's also the most bullish shadow bar of the chart as well.
Yeah, I was excited. I told Joe about that the next morning. I was like, DHI.
I was trying to see if there was any significant size here in the option detail. 1 million is not significant, in my opinion, but
so
that's significant.
New listeners, if you have any questions, then this is the time to ask them. SR says, this Zoom session is very helpful. More educational videos or training sessions will definitely help us all to understand the tool better. Tay, Sarah, Joe, or others, please consider this request.
We're working on it, SR, I promise.
I'm just waiting for Tay's check to clear, and then we'll do a video. That's a joke. Can I just mention one quick thing? Unlike most traditional indicators, the only reason this grabbed my attention, and I'm a swing trader. I don't really day trade. I haven't since I started trading for over 13 years, and this caught my attention 2.5 weeks ago, is the fact that these are predictive. They're not lagging. They're literally showing you money flow and the market maker detail, which I don't think I've ever seen anywhere else. You're getting market maker bias signals, and then you're getting real-time flow presented in a unique way that, to me, from a technical point of view, that is an edge. It's unquestionable. There's no lagging data. I just wanted to point that out.
Thanks, Joe.
And no, I'm not being paid to market the tool. I'm
Well,
literally just giving you my opinion.
That's exactly what I told Sarah on day one when I did my one-on-one orientation with her. I said, this is the only leading indicators I've ever seen in the market, ever.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Could you please read Jatsky's comment? And I'm trying to understand what he or she meant.
Adding to Joe's strategy, I'm also seeing the timing of the manipulation tally to flip and the timing spikes aligned for Tesla, MSTR, and Starbucks. Thanks, Joe. I think those are some charts that Joe went over earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think he's just agreeing that he also sees the same pattern.
Sweet.
By the way, Sarah, it's micro strategy. You don't have to keep
MicroStrategy, I don't know.
I do the same thing too, Sarah. I think in the ticker. I don't think in the name of the stock. Like, how can I look it up really fast?
What are the 2 to 3 things y'all validate on the chart before you make the trade? Can we take SPY today as an example, please?
Well, SPY should be a dead giveaway.
Yeah, SPY is a dead giveaway. So, like, literally, they just threw the entire kitchen sink at this one. They had dark pools above. They have the bronze sweep. They have the Knopf Hill, the purple Knopf Hill indicating puts are being bought at the beginning. And yeah, it was off to the races. And it's like again,
And a
like
downtrend day.
and downtrend day, and because it's a downtrend day, the sim search is going to show all the different downtrend day possibilities, and the sim search was bearish too. So you have sim search on your side, you have the dark pools on your side, you have NOF on your side, you have a bronze sweep to boot, and yeah, opening range breakdown.
I mean, you're even getting some pre-market dark pool prints above candles here, and then right at the open, right here. Is this on? This is Political Nightmares air raids, right? Right there.
Yeah, and Reese is a SPY day trader. I know we've been hearing from a lot of swing traders, but Reese, do you want to talk about what you look for in terms of your entry strategies?
Yeah, I always pay attention to now, and also when it moves really fast, like earnings season, I pay attention to M bar as well. And yeah, like a lot of you guys, I'm quite new as well. It's been about a year since I traded. And I learned a lot from a lot of you guys. So it's been really helpful as well. So yeah, I'm sorry, there's not much that I can contribute.
No, it's okay. I mean, simple is good for new users.
Thanks, Reese. Okay, so John asks, is NOF only plotted on opening orders, e.g. call buy to open, or are closing orders plotted as well, call sell to close? Yes, both opening and closing orders are included in the calculation of NOF.
I think a really good example of that was on the last quad witching, especially on Tesla when they closed out all those puts, those 621 puts. And Zeta had pointed that out too.
Is that it right here? Is this what you're talking about?
I believe so. Where's Zeta? He was like
yeah, that's true. And it's hard. Like if you go to the option flow for that day, you'll see it. They were like huge. I don't know, for some reason option flow doesn't pull up for that day exactly. But the right hand, you'll see like huge puts. And the only way that I kind of gauged that they were closing their puts was just because it was the week of OPEX and it was the next day.
Correct.
I think that's just what my thought process was. Because I remember at the time they were all coming through, and I think we were all thinking, oh, we need to get into Tesla puts because of all these put options.
Right.
Like something must be happening. But then we thought, well, maybe it's the opposite.
Yes, they were closing all their 621 puts right at on the quad, which was like a day before. I think you can see something similar on snow too. But
what date?
Just in general on the daily chart, see all those puts being closed. I think those are puts being. I'd have to take a closer look at the expiration date, but mostly those put sales down there, a little bit further to your right. And again, I need to. This is just speculation. I haven't looked at the expiration dates, but I think something similar may have been happening here. They were closing out their puts.
Well, the market tends to
Beautiful.
move in a large wave, and then it'll pull back to a key level and then continue its move, right? It typically moves in 3 stages for each of the names. So this was a large first initial move, retrace back up, and then it looks like it's continuing lower. That makes sense right here.
Yeah, but I think to answer the question, are they closing outputs? Well, you have to take in context the general trend. Does it make sense that they're closing out? Like, does it does it make sense? And then what is the expiration date also? So
if we go to that date here, we can take a look. So let's pick June 17th.
And I could be wrong. That's just my speculation, but
yeah, see, these are a week out from expiration. 621s. These are
so
very
they're closing
short dated. Yeah,
so
these
they're
are
closing
way short dated puts. Yep.
Yeah.
There, Marcus says, will this be recorded and sent out?
Yes, I am recording it right now, and I'll upload it to YouTube and send everyone the link in the Discord. And for the users that came here because you saw the banner link or received an email, please be sure to join our Big Short Discord community, because there are subscriber-only channels where we talk about charts and trades and setups in real time, and you'll also have access to Tay's official Rex channel. So highly, highly recommend joining those so you get the full value of your subscription.
Okay, you just caused 3 people to drop out of the chat, Sarah.
Ah, God damn it.
So, and we now only have 30 people here. So I'm going, like if
Okay, we'll say it again.
no, it's
Zipping
a
it up.
joke. It's a joke. But so yeah, if there aren't any questions, then I guess we could wrap it up, right?
Stop sharing.
Yeah, any more questions?
John
No, I
says
just want to say thank you to you guys.
either way,
Man, I've learned so much in a short amount of time. It's unbelievable.
Yay.
John says either way, opening, closing does indicate same direction, but figuring out whether SM is opening, closing can help us inform how we should play it. Okay, Greg L says, thanks, this was awesome. Okay, all right, let's end it on Greg L's comment.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks so
That
much.
says, thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
And
Thanks,
thank
guys.
you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Joe, Paul, Damon, Reese. Thank you guys so much for joining and answering user questions too. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.